Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Informed American podcast. I'm your host, Shelley Meyer, and today we're continuing our deep dive into Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. If you've been following along, you know I've been reading through all 1,000 pages of this bill, breaking it down section by section in layperson's terms to help you. In this episode, I'm tackling section 10004. Which deals with the availability of Standard Utility Allowances, or SUAs, for families receiving energy assistance. If you've ever used the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, you know that utility costs play a big part in determining how much assistance a family can get. But the changes to how these allowances are calculated could have a huge impact. So let's dive into what these changes mean for families across the country. What is the Standard Utility Allowance, or SUA? Before we get into the specifics of Section 1, let's quickly talk about what a Standard Utility Allowance is. SUAs are used to determine how much energy assistance a family can receive when calculating their SNAP benefits. These allowances help account for the cost of utilities like heating, cooling, electricity, and a family's overall financial picture. The higher the SUA, the more the family can get in SNAP benefits because it affects the excess shelter reduction. That goes into determining how much aid someone qualifies for. Trump has made a move to standardize the way these allowances are calculated across states, and that's where things start to get a little complicated. In 2019, Trump introduced a regulation that aimed to standardize SUA calculations nationwide. Now, states are already able to adjust SUAs to reflect local utility costs. So, for example, states with higher utility prices could provide higher allowances to help families make ends meet. And it's very difficult right now, and it's been difficult for a long time. But Trump's regulation wants to bring uniformity to this process. The idea behind this is to create a more standardized approach to how SUAs are calculated across the country. On the surface, this looks like it might seem reasonable, but the problem is that the standardization could lower the value of SUAs in some states, especially those with higher utility costs, like Florida or California. The impact on SNAP benefits. This is a decrease in assistance. So, what does this mean for low-income families who rely on SNAP benefits? Well, because SUAs play a key role in determining the excess shelter deduction, a decrease in the value of these allowances result in lower SNAP benefits for families who are relying on energy assistance. Essentially, families might find themselves receiving less help with both their utility bills and food costs. And it's bad enough right now when everything is so expensive, no matter where you are in the country. This is especially concerning for families with elderly or handicapped members. They often face higher energy costs due to medical equipment usage, heating needs, or mobility issues. A reduction in the SUA could make it even harder for them to pay for both electricity and food, which leads to further hardship for these families. The heat and eat provision and energy assistance. Let's talk about this important aspect of this bill, the Heat and Eat provision. The Heat and Eat program allows families who receive basic energy assistance, like through the Low Income Energy Assistance Program, or LEAP, to qualify for higher SNAP benefits. Essentially, by qualifying for higher SUA, families can boost their SNAP payments through these provisions. But here's where Trump's changes get even more concerning. By decreasing the value of SUA, Trump's adjustments could weaken the effectiveness of the Heat and Eat provisions. And that's not all. Trump is also cutting or even eliminating LEAP altogether. It is a vital program that helps low-income families cover their heating and cooling bills, and losing it would leave many families vulnerable and without heat and power. The Food Research and Action Center warns that if LEAP is reduced or ended completely, families will have almost no opportunity to take advantage of the Heat and Eat provision, meaning their SNAP benefits would decrease even more. For these low-income families, these changes are pretty clear. With the USUA reduced and LEAP cut back or eliminated entirely, low-income families will be hit very hard. They might find themselves unable to keep up with the rising utility costs or struggling to afford basic necessities like food. It's kind of we're all in that position, but low-income people have it a lot harder. This isn't just a theoretical concern. This is a real issue that will affect millions of people, particularly those who are already in vulnerable situations, such as the elderly, disabled, and families with young children. The reduction in the excess shelter deductions, which results from fewer SUAs, means the net income calculations for families will go up, and ultimately their SNAP benefits will go down. This creates a perfect storm where families who are already struggling to make ends meet will find it even harder to survive. This is hard, and a lot of Americans today are on some sort of assistance because of the rising cost of everything. So what does this all mean? So to sum it all up, Section 10004 of Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill could have a serious impact on low-income families who rely on SNAP. By standardizing SUAs and reducing the value of these allowances, Trump is making it very difficult for families to get energy assistance they need. And with the cuts to LEAP and the weakening of the heat and eat provision, these changes could leave many families without enough support to pay for both food and utilities. These changes are part of a broader push to reduce government spending and encourage self-sufficiency, which in itself is not a terrible thing. But income needs to come up too, and that's where the disconnect is. Income is not rising while the price of everything else is. But for the families who will be directly impacted, it's a harsh reality. The question now is whether these measures will really help people or if they will only make it harder for those who are really already struggling. So that's it for today's breakdown of Section 10004 from Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. I hope this helps you understand the potential effects of changes to standard utility allowances and energy assistance programs under this bill. Please stay tuned as I continue to unpack the sections in the coming weeks. As always, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and join me next week for more in-depth analysis of the policies that shape our nation. Thanks.